And that's when I knew something ain't right. Something is not right. Well, what is up? What is up? I'm your girl, Niki Dawson. Yes, my name's Niki, like Niki. Last name Dawson's, like Dawson's Creek. Welcome if you're new here. This is a bit on my channel that I haven't been able to dig into in a really long time. And yeah, today just seemed like a day to start. Why not start doing it? So yeah, today is one of those segments that I wanted to start doing and adding to my channel, and it's called Story Time. I wanted to do the story about me surviving Steven Johnson syndrome. And some people are like, what in the world is this? It sounds very elaborate. It is a very elaborate thing, but on a more serious note, it is something that I definitely wouldn't wish on anyone, even that I dislike very deeply. It was something that was a very intense experience, and I hope that me sharing a part of my story and my experience with it maybe help somebody that is going through it now that has survived it as well, or just someone's friends or families that are just trying to find a way to connect or understand the person that they care about in their lives. So yeah, so enough of me going on and on. Let's get started and just talk about some of the timelines. I just want to do a quick little warning as well. Just some of the things I'm going to talk about may be sensitive to some people. So if you're not really into like things happening with the skin and like just not the bee's knees and just kind of just a little bit of grossness, that's what we're going to be talking about a little bit today. And so maybe you want to click off. If you want to click off, that's cool. No big deal. For the people that are aware of what the topic is and or just curious and maybe are still not deterred by that warning, thanks for hanging in here, and let's just talk about it. Okay, so my experience with Steven Johnson started back in 2017. So it was quite a few years ago. I was just in my prime. I'm just kidding. I'm still in my prime. But I felt like I was just really hitting a beautiful stride. It was June 8th, 2017. My life completely just did a whirlwind. The reason why I say that was like the initial start of everything. I started having like flu-like symptoms, didn't feel really well, and I had my roommate take me to the ER in the area. And I kind of was discharged with kind of like, you seem a little fussy, your eye seems a little inflamed, maybe you have pink eye, whatever. They gave me some antibiotics. I mentioned something wrong with my mouth. They were like, go to the dentist. Kind of rude. Lady, you were rude. Anyway, went home. Next day I woke up, felt 10 times worse, did not feel any better because obviously I haven't had the medication. So I figured, let me hurry up and get to my local Walgreens, pick up my medication so I can feel better. So here we are the next day, June 9th. The way I could kind of describe the onset reminded me of, I don't know if you've ever had strep throat. It kind of felt like that at its beginning, like infancy start phases. My throat felt very scratchy. My eyes were kind of like feeling very inflamed, very sensitive to like light and things. So I get to the counter. Finally, I'm like, thank you. The gods have finally helped me. I just need to get this medicine in me. Everything's going to be a-okay once I get this in me, right? I didn't even get to my car, not to my house. I went to the restroom inside of the Walgreens to take this medication, where basically I had like an eye drop system they prescribed me. I put these eye drops in, y'all. That's when I messed up. It was downhill from that point on. It literally felt like acid rain liquid was in my eyes, and I was just like, what is happening? This isn't making me feel better like I thought and that I've waited for all night long. What is happening? Yeah, I couldn't see. It got really worse at that point, and so my crazy butt decided, I'm gonna do a walk-in. Let me just go to an ENT. I need a second opinion because the ER told me I'm fine. I just took this medicine. I don't feel fine. So here I am. I got shades on. I'm like going in full vampire mode. If this was a movie, I was like changing on them, and I'm like heading to the ENT. I'm thinking and if you don't know what an ENT is, ear, nose, and throat specialist, I'm heading to them. I'm thinking they'll know. They know about the throat because I'm feeling it. You know, something's happening with my nose. Something they know. So I ended up waiting for quite a bit of time. We're not even gonna get into that. Feeling like I'm dying in this chair in this office. They finally sit me in the office. They finally get a doctor in. They do a scope, which was 10 times worse on my throat. So they did a scope, realized there's obvious inflammation, all this kind of stuff. So he's like, oh, boom, bada bing, bada boom, here's some medication. Keep in mind now, if we go back earlier in the day, y'all, I got these eye drops that was given to me the night before from the ER from feeling weird. I was like, okay, eye drops are already in me, y'all. The medication from that, it's already in me. I proceed to take these horse pills of antibiotics that was prescribed to me in the same day from another doctor. And so, presto boomdo, fast forward, I am struggling to swallow these pills because the mechanism for me to swallow was just becoming intolerable. Even to the point, like, when my parents came by, brought me like some sushi. I love sushi and it's soft and I figured it'd be great. I took a bite of this rice, you guys, and it felt like glass scratching me. And that's when I knew something ain't right. Something is not right. And so not want to continue to spend money at the ER and not want to pay my copays because broke artist life, we just not out here trying to spend money on that. I just proceeded to sit in my bed and just continue to fester. I thought if I took the antibiotic, just go to sleep. I'm the type of person when you're like sick, you just go, you're good. Sleep it off. Couple hours sleep, some NyQuil, whatever, you'll be straight. That was not the case. I took the antibiotics. A couple hours went by. My roommate went to check in on me because I just wasn't moving, wasn't making a sound. She opens the blinds. I'm like, like full vampire mode. Now she tells me, hey, can you look at me? I don't understand what's going on. So I proceed to just kind of lethargically like look at her. And all I know is she just goes, okay, exits out the room. Did not raise any alarms to me. I'm like, okay, my roommate's being weird, whatever. And then next thing I know, like an hour or maybe 30 minutes later, my mom's in the room. And she's like, all right, let's go. We need to go to the ER. I felt ambushed, but it was a healthy ambush because I was being stubborn and acting like everything was fine and not actually looking at my physical body. By this time, when my mom came to take me to the ER for the second time, but we went to a different county this time, I didn't realize, but I had like lesions starting to form on me, like red little bumpy bumps. And it was like, what the heck? My eyes actually were becoming bloodshot red and it looked like blood vessels were bursting in my eyes. I didn't look in the mirror, so I couldn't see it, but they saw it. So I knew something was happening, that everyone's kind of viewing me weird. And as soon as we step outside, I couldn't see anymore. Light, everything just immediately felt like fire. It burned. It was so bright. It was like the brightest light you could imagine, but it was just the sunlight. I couldn't open my eyes. It was a pretty scary moment when just sitting in the car, I couldn't see anything. We get to the ER at this point. Keep in mind, this is the second time I've gone the next day. And they give me some prednisone, stabilize me. They say I'm fine. And I end up going home to stay with my parents. And my mom was just like, hey, I just want to make sure you're good the next day. Let's just check in on you. That was a big scare. The next morning I wake up, go in the mirror, and I'm looking. And I was like, man, my lips feel mighty dry. I don't know if you've ever had your lips get chapped before or get to a point. It was feeling kind of like that. And I was like, wow, I must have really been thirsty, or wow, there must have been something I didn't do the night before. Come to find out, my lips aren't just really dry and thirsty and chapped. It wasn't that. When I didn't understand what I was experiencing, they still haven't diagnosed me, by the way, with Stevens-Johnson's yet. Basically, when you have Stevens-Johnson's, it becomes like a type of blister and the skin begins to slough off. Now, here's the part in the story where it gets a little gross. That morning when I was, checking out my dried lips and I touch it, it comes off. I'm not kidding, y'all. It was like out of a sci-fi movie. I'm going like, this is weird. Oh. And you know what I did? I put it right back. I said, put that right back where it goes. And I immediately called my mom. And of course, my mom's like, what do you do? Take her back to the hospital. So we go right back. Here we are on the 10th in June. I'm back in the hospital. And we're sitting here. They're like, they called the CDC. They called everybody. They were like, what is wrong with this girl? Have you been in a foreign country in the past day? For me now, in hindsight, I understand, like, you got to make sure, because Center for Disease Control, they've got to make sure we don't have an outbreak of something crazy going on. So at this time, they still have not figured out it's Stevens-Johnson's. I ended up giving several biopsies, one on my lip. I hated that one. That one sucked really bad. They had to like burn it off, singed it. If you ever smell the smell of burned skin. It's not the best. It's no fun. If you look up Stevens-Johnson syndrome, there are a few things that can create an onset. Stevens-Johnson's/TENS. It has its weird variables based on the, I want to say, I could be wrong, quote me, but it's about the amount of consumption of the reaction on the skin surface, which will put you in which category, but they're under the same umbrella if you were curious. And so when I was dealing with, you know, already there, you don't understand the lesions, I'm getting an IV, them not realizing this IV is further onsetting my issues with Stevens-Johnson's, because with Stevens-Johnson's, the onsets aren't, it can be pharmaceutical medicine. People have gotten onsets of Stevens-Johnson's based on Tylenol, all kind of random things of that nature. So I was one of those people, unfortunately, that were just a little sensitive to some of the things that are being manufactured for medical aid and help these days. So for me, when they were trying to help me, unfortunately, it was making things a tad worse. And when I say a tad, astronomically worse. It got so bad that majority of the skin on my back, it got pretty bad where that part had to slough off. A lot of spots within my upper chest of my body, my arms, my face, a lot of my face, my scalp, a lot of regions began to be affected. And as I maybe have mentioned, you might have heard already, within Stevens-Johnson's, once you have the reaction, it's not necessarily the initial reaction and lesions that are what affects people or maybe takes their lives. It's the after effects of the sloughing off of the affected skin. So you're just basically like a burn victim. And that is the harder part, which a lot of people, they have a hard time healing from the wounds that you incur from experiencing the reaction. At this point, when I was experiencing a lot of inflammation in my face, when I say I felt like I was on fire, that's the best way I could explain how I felt. The IV, let alone, felt like hot boiling. It just felt like when, I don't know if y'all ever be cooking grease and it's popping, but y'all know that popping grease is frying. That's literally, it just felt like that all over my body where everything was reacting. So eventually, as things kept declining in my health and my vision just started to get worse, a doctor came in and immediately goes, stop administering her the drugs. I think it's the medicine. Thank God for that person. Thank God that that doctor overheard the situation happening within the hospital on the floor. But I'm grateful till this day for that person to think for a moment in their curriculum, in their book, when they went over Stevens-Johnson's briefly, that the information got to them and it triggered something in their head to say that, because that's what really honestly helped save my life, the beginning of the journey of me being rehabilitated from that situation. And I learned after what happened to me, a lot of people that have experienced Stevens-Johnson's that are no longer with us, sometimes it's because they find out too late where the damage that has occurred is irreversible. Even though I had a lot of damage and I'm still dealing with damages from that experience, I'm grateful that I'm still able to be here, functioning to talk to you guys. My mind is here. I'm able to recall the things that I've experienced. So I was deeply appreciative for the entire team that helped me on the ICU unit, that basically nursed me back to some type of functionality. But that was where I found out that I was allergic. Things that normally help people, my body just didn't agree with it. And to know that and to realize wow, I don't know when I've developed this issue or never knew I had it. It was one of those things that humbled me. So when my face was totally wrecked and smooshed, it took a toll on me. That was the beginning of the whole other journey besides going through what I went through that was traumatic. It was the after effects of healing and dealing with people. It was just a long journey, especially my lips. That was the longest thing that took to heal. But it was a lot of a liquid diet. I couldn't eat solids for a while because the insides of my mouth, all of that was completely burned away and damaged and just raw. And sorry if that's graphic for anybody, but that's just what it was. I had to learn to just walk, and I even lost my singing voice. That was detrimental because if you didn't recognize, this channel is a music channel. I am a vocalist. That's what I do. I lost that ability for window of time because my vocal cords were damaged. So it was just so much that happened to me internally and somewhat externally that I couldn't hide. And it was something that I had to process and understand, because I was just like any other person that could happen to, and say, why me? And some days, I'm not gonna lie, I still have days where, because now I deal with meibomian gland dysfunction, which is MGD, and I can talk about that in another video, but that's okay. I'd rather be alive and here to tell you my story than worry about some eyeliner all the time. But yeah, I hope that me sharing a bit of the story, if you guys want to know more details about now my routine for aftercare, how I did aftercare from my injuries, what I do now to maintain from developing things. If you guys want to know more details and all that hoopla that comes with the monster effect of dealing and brushing with Stevens-Johnson syndrome, leave a comment down below. I hope this can maybe like help anybody out there that just feels like, you know, life is just tough and it's unfair. I just want to share the story of how life has been tough and unfair, and that guess what? There's always something on the other side of that crazy story, that really crappy story that maybe made you feel like, I'm out, I'm done, this is it. And if you're still standing, you're still here, and somehow you came across this video, I hope that you know that, you know, anything that you've experienced, know that it's not in vain, because you make it not in vain. It's not about how people show up for you. It's not about how anybody else is. It's about what you've experienced, what you can learn from it, and how you can share that and make some type of impact. Don't allow the negative things or the things that hurt you and scare you, bully you into silence. You keep your head up, man. Like, there's so much craziness in this world, and you have to see the gifts and the blessings and the little things most of the time. So yeah, anyways, this is a little bit more sentimental this time, not me being extra duper, super duper goofy, because I'm getting all emotional thinking about all that stuff. I'm hoping to make more stuff and talk about my life and where I've been missing for some time. I'm still making music. I'm still doing art and creative stuff I'm working on and really excited to share with you guys. So yeah, stay tuned. I'll be making more videos, just having fun on here, because I miss this. I miss you guys, and yeah, I hope that this helps you. Until next time, peace out, y'all. Bye.